This is Habs Bites, where I take a bite out of crime. Oops, that's not right. Where I take a bite out of Habs media stories and give you my opinion on the topic. Today's topics: another reason Habs take Shane Wright. Hot take number 15. Are the Habs going to trade Dvorak to clear cap space? When will Coach Marty sign? Could Ben Chiarot return as a UFA? The Rocket advance. Draft combine. Price's future. Sens pick. Where's Harris? And worst cap teams for 2023. Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge. So this video is going to be about, there's a bunch of Habs stories out there, so Habs media. I'm not really commenting on the writer's work, more on the topic. So we're going to get right into it. First topic up there. Habs pick Shane Wright, number 1, reason 256. Montreal's prospect pool is a little light at center depth, with only really Riley Kidney having a legit chance to be a top 6 center. Oliver Kapanen, Jan Mysak, and Blake Biondi do have NHL potential, but Kidney arguably has the most serious top 6 potential. Taking Wright with the first pick not only gets you the best player available, but improves your center depth, and you win that way. And just on a side note, Shane Wright interviewed with GM Kent Hughes yesterday. So that's happened already. Next up, hot take number 15. With a little bit of new insight into Juraj Slafkovsky, and I like Slafkovsky, so don't get me wrong here. He seems to play amazingly well versus the weaker squads, and not so much versus the stronger country squads. So if you look here, versus Canada, 0. Versus Finland, who won the tournament, 0. Versus France, 2 assists. Versus Kazakhstan, a goal and an assist. Versus Italy, 2 assists. Versus Denmark, 1 goal, 1 assist. It's worrisome. So my hot take is, first I'll say this. I'm no longer confident in him at number 3. It doesn't mean I don't like him, and I don't think he can make a good pick somewhere else, but I don't have confidence in him at number 3. Hot take, that's my hot take. You see right there, slips past number 5, top 5, I mean. So I think Slafkovsky slips past top 5 and goes 6 to 10. That's my hot take. I'm sure I'm going to hear about that in the comment. If you don't agree with me, comment in the comment section. For any of these things that I make, leave a comment in the comment section. Next up, I wrote here, are the Habs shopping Christian Dvorak in order to clear cap space? The headline there is, will the Montreal Canadiens free up cap space by trading Dvorak? Habs GM Kent Hughes has to be considering trading Devo. Montreal is in a very tough cap situation, which we're going to get into near the end here of the video, and needs to clear some of the expensive contracts out. We all know that. And that's in order to pay players that have raises coming and on new contracts, and also to fill out the NHL roster to get to 23 men on the roster. They like to carry 24, one in the stands all the time, but you need 23, 24 guys. They can't go more than 10% over the cap in the offseason. And right now, the way they're sitting, they're a little over the cap, so they don't have a lot of play there. And I lost my place. I think that's funny. So moving out bulky contracts will be necessary to the process of signing, making trades, signing new guys if they want to bring in anybody new. Dvorak had a good season overall, with 11 goals, 22 assists, and 33 points in just 56 games. So that's pretty good. That's like 50 points in an 82-game season. And had a 56% success rate at the faceoff circle. So that's really good as well. Habs gave up a first and third to get Dvorak from the Coyotes. And I kind of think they'll get a similar return if they trade him. maybe not the 2 picks, but maybe a first, 2 seconds, something like that in a return. But in my opinion, I think they hold on to him. But I do think they could feel forced to have to move him. If they can't move some of the other big contracts that they want to move to clear that cap space, and they have offers for Dvorak, they may feel forced to make that move. So we'll see what happens. In my opinion, though, if they can, they will hold on to Christian Dvorak. Next up, when will the Habs sign Coach Marty?
Bring back Coach Marty to the team.
Montreal was expected to announce already a long time St. Louis' new contract, like at least in early May. So we're now at the end of May. This is May 31st that I'm recording this. And word is we should hear of the signing by the first or second week of June. Now, I'm not worried. Coach Marty has said this is his dream job. Not coaching in the NHL necessarily, but coaching the Montreal Canadiens. And you know what? I think he wants to stay. I think that's clear. And I think he will. I don't think there's any worry about it. It's kind of seems mysterious, but I just think it's timing with everything that's going on for them. I think that's the only reason. Next up on this list, could Ben Chiarot come back to the Montreal Canadiens? And it says there the verdict is in on Ben Chiarot's future in the NHL, and it's good news for the CH. Now, is it good news for the CH? I don't know why exactly. It would seem Big Ben's time with the Florida Panthers is probably coming to an end. And this is a quote, highly unlikely that Chiarot resigns long-term with the Panthers. And I think almost impossible that he signs short-term because, why would he sign for 1 year? Unless he can't find another deal and they're offering him a year and he might take it that way. But otherwise, why would he do that? Chiarot won't be cheap. He was making $3.5 million in his last contract. It's going to be, I got to figure 5+. I don't know where over, but it's going to be on the expensive side. So in my opinion, Montreal, they just won't be able to afford to sign him. As I just said, with the cap issues and everything, I don't see how they can sign. I know they're going to want, if they trade Petrie, they're going to want to bring back an experienced defenseman, but not an expensive experienced defenseman. So I think that rules Chiarot out for coming back. As I just said here, next is therefore I think it's highly unlikely that Ben signs back here with Montreal. I don't see how that happens. Some good news. Laval Rocket advanced to Calder Cup Conference Final with a thrilling victory. So the Habs went on a deep playoff run last season, going to the Stanley Cup Final. And this season, the Rocket said, hey, hold my beer. And they're going to go on a deep run themselves after beating Syracuse Crunch in their first round best-of-5 series in a hard-fought 5 games. They faced the Rochester Americans next and swept past them 3-0 with a dominating 6-1 win in the first game. A kind of hard-fought 3-1 win in game 2, and then a really hard-fought 6-5 triple overtime win in game 3 to win the best-of-5 series and advance. Now, they'll face next either the Springfield Thunderbirds or the Charlotte Checkers in the next round. I do believe one of those two teams, and I should have written down which one, is up 2-0 at the time I wrote this. So congrats to the Rocket de Laval, and go Rocket, go. Maybe the Rocket at least, maybe they'll win the Calder Cup. And it's funny because it's like the first time, I don't know if it's the first time ever, but the first time for the Rocket to be in the playoffs, and the first time in a long time in Montreal minor team's been there. So it'd be great if they could win it. Some good news and it is good news because that means the players that are there that are coming up and are going to be occupying this team, the roster spots, they're winners, and they can win a championship, and that's good. You want to see that. Next up, the NHL Draft Combine started yesterday. That's May 30th, and will run through Saturday, June 4th. 96 players were invited to the Combine, 63 forwards, 30 D, and 3 goalies. to take part in one-on-one meetings, physical tests, medical exams, official interviews, and more. This is where teams make their final decisions, I think, on these top players. Shane Wright, Logan Cooley, and Juraj Slafkovsky were all invited, and that is where Shane Wright's Habs interview took place, so we know he is definitely there. I've got something on it. I said most of this. So, they'll be doing things like they'll have 11 fitness tests to take place at the Harbor Center on the final day of the evaluation session, including standing height measurements, arm span, long jump, bench press, agility tests, pull-ups, and Wingate anaerobic test. I have no idea what that is. And the rest is not important. So that's going on. I know there were questions about, is there going to be a combine? They canceled it the last 2 seasons because of COVID, and it's back this year. So that's good. It's good to have the combine. They're kind of treated, I don't know, I always see they're kind of treated like horses a little bit, but I think it's a good thing for teams to, it's good information that they get, especially with the interviews. I think those are great. Next up, Carey Price. Hughes was just asked about Carey Price's future in the NHL, and his answer speaks volumes. It does kind of. So we'll go over it. Jim Kent Hughes was on a podcast. Oh, I wanted to do this differently. I'm not going to cut this out. I'm just going to redo it. GM Kent Hughes was on a podcast the other day. He, of course, was asked about Carey Price. Of course. I mean, how could he not in an interview? And what his future holds as a Hab. So I've got what he said here. Ultimately, in Carey's situation, he has to make the right decision for him. Obviously, that decision will have a big impact on us in one way or another. We're able to empathize with him, and obviously there's a timeline that's in place for him to get better and to get back to being a full-time goalie. But there is a timeline for us as well. We hope they match up, but at the end of the day, we have to respect the fact that he has to do things the way he has to do them in order to get back to full-time. So, while Hughes is not rushing Carey Price, he's obviously saying that Price has a timeline and needs to follow that. So he's not rushing him to get back. It's clear the Canadiens kind of need to know. I wrote here ASAP, so for as soon as possible, so they can make decisions and know, about the cap space. Are they going to have his LTIR money? Are they not? Will he be back mid-season? So then they won't have his money. They need to know these things. I don't want to say the retirement, but I mean, it could be that, right? The Price situation is clearly still up in the air. I don't think Price will be ready for game 1. That's what I think, especially if he has surgery again this offseason, which he's not decided on yet, but I would imagine will soon. We'll likely see a tandem of Jake Allen and Sam Montembeault most or all of next season again, and I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. Montreal may decide to move on Allen and bring in another goalie, but Allen's got a pretty good contract. We all love Allen, and I don't see why they would do that, actually. I thought maybe they would, but when you think about it, kind of doesn't make sense. So we'll see what happens with that. Next up, a major new element has been placed on the trade market for the Montreal draft. Now, that's kind of freaking vague when you read that headline. So what it's about is the Sens number 7 pick is on the trading block. So there's so much talk lately of Montreal Canadiens trading for New Jersey Devils number 2 pick and to have the top 2 picks at the draft because the draft's in Montreal. I mean, you'd want the top 2 picks anyways, but even more so if the draft is in Montreal. And I get that. That would be awesome to do. But, and I wrote here, at what price? No pun intended. At what price? It's going to be, you got to think the price is high. The Devils are sure to ask for Cole Caulfield, maybe Alex Romanov, maybe both. That's too high a price to pay, in my opinion. If the Habs want a second pick in the top 10, I think the better target is at number 7 and the Ottawa Senators pick. That Sens GM Pierre Dorion says, quote, is in play, according to Sens reporter Bruce Garriock. So no word yet. Get your words right on what it would take to get the pick. But it's got to be cheaper than Jersey's number 2 pick. You got to think. Got to be somewhat cheaper. A little bit, something cheaper. You'd still get a really good prospect. That would be that should at least be an NHL player at minimum. In my opinion, if you want to get Slafkovsky, my hot take earlier, to go along with Wright, and I'm okay with that. I didn't want to put Slafkovsky down necessarily. Acquiring this pick from Ottawa might be the way to do that. That might be the right place to get Slafkovsky. Next up, a question that I was asked in live stream and stuff like that. Reason behind Jordan Harris's absence for USA at Worlds has been revealed. And my headline, why Jordan Harris didn't suit up for the USA at the Worlds. Where in the Worlds was Jordan Harris? According to Chris Peters, NHL draft analyst for Daily Faceoff, Jordan Harris was invited by USA Hockey, but was never officially registered by the team. Teams often wait to register the final players at the Worlds to leave spots open for late arriving players as NHL players are getting eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs. So this is what the U.S. did and welcomed Matt Boldy and Ryan Hartman and John Merrill and goalie Jeremy Swayman. So they left Harris off, deciding to go with 2 forwards and only 1 defenseman. And then, right after, 2 defensemen got injured, right after their decision the next game. And, you got to think that considering that they finished outside the medal round, they lost the bronze medal game. So you got to think they regret that decision, right? That having only 4 defensemen for a few games right at the end, crucial games, probably cost them a medal anyway. And last story, Tampa Bay and Montreal are the worst cap teams. Canadiens and Lightning are among the teams already in trouble with salary cap for next year. Cap Friendly updated their website to the 2022-23 season yesterday, and they put out a list showing every team. It's not here. Every team's cap situation. It would be really small, and you probably wouldn't be able to see it anyway. I could barely read it. Tampa Bay and Montreal head that list as the only two teams already over the cap for next season. So they got players to sign, all I got to do, and they're already over the cap, so they can't do anything, right? Okay, they have Weber's, Anyways, and that's why they won't be bringing in any big money UFAs, and why they must make they must move some of the big contracts this offseason. It's not, they really must move some of those contracts. So if you're wondering about Petrie's contract and the way they've said it, if they can make a good deal and all that for the team, they have to move that contract and get rid of that money, bring in a cheaper guy and save on the cap. They have to. They'll have Weber's LTIR money and possibly Carey Price's, which is a lot of money. But they have players to sign and a roster to fill out, and would also like to have a few million left over just in case. You don't want to go into the season no money, zero money. Usually, 2 million, 3 million. You want to have that. They got to move contracts. They got to. All right, that's it. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. I appreciate that. And listen, consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'd also appreciate that. Thanks for watching this video. Stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. And I'll see you next video. Ciao, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.